a trans actor making history on daytime television on CBS's top soap, Bold and the Beautiful, next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, this is another edition of Spotlight On here on AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm your host, James Lott Jr. A little bit of Christina Aguilera, and I love her. We love her so much. My guest today ain't like no other man either. That's right, kids. I know how to tie it in. I admire this man so much. He does one-person shows, TED Talks in Houston, activism, currently making history as Nick on CBS's Bold and the Beautiful. A super nice guy. I'm so excited he's here with me. Scott Turner Schofield.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. All right. Thank you, Christina. Goodbye.
Thanks, Christina.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for everything. Your big hair. Your giant hair. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I reached out to you, and you were like, yes.
Of course. Why would I turn anything down?
I don't
I'm a yes man. You know what I mean? Anything's going to be a good story, I'm going to do it, right?
No, I love that. I didn't expect your answer like that. Yeah, so it's funny because, there's people that I seek out and I see what's going on. I'm like, and I reach out and you see what happens. I'm so glad to be able to make this happen.
Yeah, me too.
So right now you're on CBS's Bold and the Beautiful, and I was just saying you are making history as a trans actor on a daytime, well, I think anything daytime at this point, right? Am I correct at that?
Yes.
Not just dramas, just like daytime period?
Yeah, I'm the first trans actor in daytime television.
Yeah, so first of all, you're an actor first, obviously.
Yes.
That's it. I'm an actor. He's an actor for hire. Hire him. I looked at all the cameras. Hire him. But how does it feel to have the extra of being the first to kind of break through that?
Frankly, I was surprised because daytime has always really been at the vanguard of social issues. They're always figuring things out in front of people because they need the stories. Frankly, they're just always making stories. So I was surprised, and especially when I think about all of the trans actors that have been working for so long, And the other thing that we have to remember is I'm actually the first openly transgender.
Okay, so just make sure you say that. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Right, because chances are it's very likely there have been trans actors on daytime, and because of what it's like to be a trans person and the employment discrimination that we face every day, people couldn't tell, and that's a bummer for them because I wish they could have gotten the party and the fun. But it's the sign of the times, man. Everything's changing, and it's great.
You said something important. Okay, so in many cases, people out there, because soaps cater to middle America mostly, and it's all about that. And nowadays, on Days of Our Lives had a gay storyline. Soaps are trying to work that out, but it's still tough. We say with trans, like many times you wouldn't know if they were one gender at one point or this. You would they are who they are, right? For
many people, that's true. There are a lot of people, and this is where we still face discrimination, right? Like the butt of the joke, right? The man in a dress, right, kind of thing. And there are men who like to wear dresses. They're called cross-dressers. That's different slightly than being transgender, right? And that's fine.
Yes.
To each their own.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Dress here and there.
Hey, go for it. It's I don't even know where to go with it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm finding out, this is my first year in Hollywood.
Okay.
And, it's really tough. It's really hard because if you saw me in the street, would you think that guy used to be a woman?
No.
Right.
No, not at all. Very handsome man, by the way.
Thanks. Oh, thanks.
I would not, seriously would not, I would not even, that wouldn't even pop in my head at all.
And yet, casting directors feel like we're telling some sort of lie, or that me kissing a woman, for instance, would throw that woman's sexuality into question. I've been literally told that.
Interesting.
We can't put you out for a romantic lead role because you will put the actress's sexuality into question. I'm like, so that means you think I'm a woman. You think that I'm a woman.
Yeah, wow.
And that I'd just be kissing another woman. And that's what we're facing. These are the people who are in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to in most cases retire.
I never even thought of that part of it. That they would look at it that way, saying, "Well, no, you were born this." And I was saying, because I feel like you're probably a man the whole time, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's how I felt.
And now you're into your correct state. But I just feel like they're looking at you thinking, well, no, but you were born this, and so now they're lesbian storyline. Or now we're lying to people saying it's a guy kissing. I'm like, no, you're not lying. It's a guy kissing a girl, right?
Yeah. I've also been told, because there's this thing that is out there right now, putting a trans actor in a non-trans role. Like the unbelievable idea that I might just play a dude.
Oh, how funny.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that I could just walk on 15 years of award-winning theater career internationally behind me. Like I might be able to just play a dude. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but that's amazing because there's this historical first that's out there, right? Nobody's done that yet. Yeah. And so they would get a lot of press. They would probably win a GLAAD award. Who knows, right? Yeah. And somebody told me, somebody in charge was like, yeah, but the kind of press you might bring is not the kind of press a show might want.
Ooh, dang.
Which thankfully is not how the Bold and the Beautiful are doing it. And I really have to focus on the positive. We're just in a changing society, and people are, I don't mean this in a negative or mean way. People are ignorant. Like, how could you know? You know what I mean? We're not taught this stuff in school, right? So we get our attitudes and we have our ignorance, and unfortunately I bear the brunt of it. But then there are people who really want to take chances and move people forward and do things intelligently, and that's what Brad Bell's doing over it.
Well, it's funny because it's because basically what you're stating is the same thing 20 even 30 years ago, interracial couples on soaps,
right?
And then it became lesbian and gay stuff. Like we're coming along. I mean, it's people out there are used to seeing what they see and knowing what they think they know,
right?
So the main thing different, especially on your soap, which is on every day, which we shouldn't, we can't negate any of that, because being on a soap every day, someone's home 5 days a week, it's a lot compared to once a week or once bi-weekly. I mean, it's just like you're on every day. You're in their living room, kitchen, bedroom, wherever they watch TV every day. Hi, that's right, kids. He is in your bedroom.
But I'm not in your bathroom.
Hopefully not. I'm like, oh, hopefully not.
I mean, I don't know where you watch television.
I've always joked having a television by my bathtub, but that's something different.
That'd be nice.
It'd be kind of nice. I'm like watching TV. So we're going to delve into your character and all that, and how Bold People came into your orbit. But first, we're going to show your reel. Seeing Nick on Bold and the Beautiful with some great actors.
When you work for something your whole life, fight for it, pray for it, sacrifice, deal with death threats and casual contempt, you don't wait around for luck. You have your own back.
What's going on?
When did you tell Chris? I mean, how far into your relationship?
She's doing such a great job.
I love her. When it became clear we were
you gotta bring her to me.
I'm going to. She's doing a theater show on Sunday night.
Ooh.
Your guy doesn't know?
Not yet.
Don't you live together? It's okay. There's
Hello.
story timeline.
Okay, well, I've given myself one.
She's so pretty.
If he proposes, I want to tell him.
That's a good idea.
I want to spend the rest of my life with Rick.
You guys have such a natural chemistry as friends, like natural friends.
Hey, Nick.
Here we go, Torsten K.
Oh, Torsten.
I got questions for him.
He's the
I
best.
heard you, and I learned something.
Prove it. Don't discriminate. Firing public sector employees because they're transgender is against the law. So says the Attorney General. You too could join the 21st century.
Okay, good night.
Mic drop.
Exactly. Next. So this is some examples of what he does when he's on the show. I mean, again, great actors. Okay, so let's just start out with, how did Bold and Beautiful come into your orbit?
Well, I had been taking classes at Your Studio Productions here in Studio City, actually.
Oh, okay.
Not too far away.
Yep.
And that's a place where you go and you do auditions for casting directors and take audition and scene study classes, whatever.
Okay.
I had actually only been in town for like 2.5 weeks at that point. I had just moved here. I had been in a relationship and I moved here for that person, and somebody from the studio called me and said, Christy Dooley was here giving a class, and she said she's looking for a transgender actor. Can I give her your info? I was like, sure, of course. Right?
Wow.
And then a couple days later, I got an email from Christy asking if, I was interested, and said, of course I am. And a couple days after that, I went in and auditioned for the role, and another couple days after that, I was sitting in a room with Candace Cain.
Love Candace. Yes.
Right? I mean, but the thing about Candace is,
Tell me.
she's so gorgeous.
No, I know she's beautiful.
She's literally the word bombshell was made for her.
I agree.
And I've never been in a room with her before. I've
okay.
watched her on television, but I've never.
I've seen her. I've been with her live. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, Candace, right?
Yes.
And and the only thing I can say about that is that she must have had a scheduling conflict or something, because why they would pick me over her is beyond me.
No, we see why now, because you're good. So we see
I'm
why.
sure I'm good, but she's amazing. And and then it was crazy because I gave the audition. My second audition was a producer, callback, and I started to shake while I was doing it.
Ooh.
And I could feel my knees knocking. This never happened to me before in my entire life. I could just, and I was like, oh God, I'm blowing this, and I just kept going through. I kept
Go through.
Don't let it, And I left, and I was like, I totally blew that. And I think that was a Wednesday or something. And I didn't hear from them. And I took to my bed. You know what I mean? It was my
dramatic.
shot.
Suddenly, oh my God, oh my God.
I was like a bear for 2 days. I was just like,
I love it.
And then Christy Dooley called me and said, we'd like to offer you this role. And it was only supposed to be 3 episodes. And it ended up being something like 15.
Wow.
And so far, we're still going. But but it's it was just amazing. And there's such a wonderful family over there, that they would just continue this storyline. And
the storyline's amazing because I, as a watcher, and I did not know they were going to go that direction. And what I thought was very ballsy, and being African American myself, I thought was great that first when they paired up a legacy character such as Rick Forrester with a black woman who is clearly black. She ain't light-skinned and none of that kind of stuff. She is black. And then made her trans. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I think my mouth was on the floor, but in a way that I was just like, oh my God, this is brilliant.
Hashtag 2016.
Okay.
I guess 2015 at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Hashtag 2015.
And then they gave her a family. So now we got a black family on there. We got a black family on there, and they're dealing with it in a way. There's everyone from he won the Emmy.
Oba Babatunde.
Yes, he's great. He won the Emmy.
He's amazing.
Anna Maria Horsford, who I just love to death. And so they're all doing such great. But it's a black woman who's playing trans in an interracial storyline. Jesus Christ! It's like they're hitting everything.
Yeah,
hit it all.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is amazing, and I mean, it just says so much. The fact that we have a black family working out, and I'm not black, obviously.
You're not?
I'm the whitest
white
guy
light skin.
But, even I know that, watching a black family deal with any kind of LGBT issue, in the depth that they are, and that they're also just dealing with, black family issues, too, right? The interracial couple stuff.
Yeah,
and, all of these things, that's not happening anywhere else.
No, it isn't.
Right? And then the trans part, and Maya, the character Maya, is the only consistently trans character she's on every day. So when Orange is the New Black and Transparent are on their hiatus, she's still trans. You know what I mean? It's. I mean, I just can't. I feel like a sycophant or something. I feel like I'm, but I really do feel this genuine respect and just enthusiasm for the Bold and the Beautiful and for Briar Bell and the entire everybody over there for what they're doing. It's amazing, and I'm a little annoyed that nobody, that it's because it's daytime, apparently nobody cares. I'm well, 30 million people care.
Thank you. Thank you. The redheaded stepchild, bugs the crap out of me. Soap acting is the hardest acting to do out there, period. The pacing, everything, memorization. You know how it is.
Carla
bugs the crap out of me because she has monologues, she has things. I mean, it's just come on, people. Were you aware of On All My Children a few years ago before it went off the air? I want to say maybe mid-2000s, they had a trans character.
Oh, yeah.
Zoe
and Zarf.
Yes, and that was something. The guy, he was really good. I think he was really good, and I was like, that's pretty good. They did that, but that's the only thing I can think of in terms of anything trans on daytime.
Yeah, that's
like a storyline wise. This one's gone way farther into it, and like you said, they're really going in depth. They're really talking about it.
Yeah,
and she's on front burner.
You know, and I mean, she's just. My hat's off to Carla. You know, I was scandalized by the Daytime Emmys, you know, the work that she did. But I'm super glad Jacob also got, you know, was nominated because, like, the work that he did and what he had to take on and sort of all of the judgment. Talk about putting a person's sexuality, like, that's right up. Like, did it put, you know, Rick Forrester's sexuality into question, and the fact that they were like, no, you know,
right,
like,
that's amazing.
You know,
well, you know, Jacob Young. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his work as Lucky Spencer, his version of Lucky Spencer on General Hospital, but I loved him as J.R. Chandler on All My Children, and I love him as Rick. I love that he brought him back. Like, he was on Rick. He was the first Rick. He was a long time ago, and he came back. I mean, he's just doing again opposite her. Because you're right, he's really the brunt of it all. I mean, yeah, she's kind of playing this character that is supposed to be trans, but he's the guy. He's the dude.
Right. And you're like, don't even get me started.
You won't get me started.
I can't go there.
Do it.
Well, I mean, all it does is highlight our general ignorance about what trans bodies are.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, and I really wonder, like, how many of you watching are wondering what's in my pants right now?
I'm sure.
Right?
I'm sure we are. I'm sure.
And did you hear anything that I said before I called you out on that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, this is what being trans is. Like, the fact that, like, everything, and you know, I wonder if you as a black man experience this too. Like, you're like, is this person hearing me through the filter of, like, oh my God, I'm talking to a black man, oh my God, blah, 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 you know, and all of their
I'm
stuff.
so articulate for a black person.
Right.
I've gotten many of those, trust me.
So articulate. That's so condescending.
Yes. I know. It's like, yes, so I do understand that, yes.
And I forget that a lot of people, when I'm talking to them, are just, their inner monologue is, so does he have a penis or does he not have a penis? And what does that make his girlfriend? And how does that work?
Right.
When I'm like, hey, you know, like, I'm auditioning for them.
Okay, right.
So, you know, again, this is something that all people who are minorities in America experience, especially in Hollywood, right? And I'm super excited about the way things are really starting to change now.
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny because I lived in San Francisco for 16 years, and I worked with a lot of the community stuff, and so I remember back in the day when it was called F to M and M to F, that whole thing. So I've hired people back then when I was told not to hire them because they were F to M or M to F, and I'm like, but this guy was really good in the interview and would be a good worker. I'm talking like retail jobs.
Yeah. But what bathroom will they use?
Right, it's all this stuff. It's like, I didn't, back then I didn't care. I was a manager and I was like, I want, hi Rocky, I don't know if you're doing good.
And you were told not to hire them.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
That's why this is back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was told in San Francisco, which is very liberal for a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's changed now since then, but I was just kind of like, so I have a lot of history with the trans community because I've been around it, so I'm like, I know that stuff. I know what's going on. Okay, so let's talk about. You already mentioned Carla Mosey and Jacob Young a little bit. Torsten K. I mean, a legend in the daytime community, first of all.
What a man. What a mighty good man.
I know he's a hockey fan. I know that part. But how is he to work opposite?
He drives a fabulous car.
Does he really?
Yeah. I like cars. He
you do?
In this little, I was like, oh, can I have a ride in your car? Yeah, Torsten, So my first day on set, I had my first scene, which was with Carla, and you mentioned it seemed like you and Carla were like
so natural.
Friends. Well, it was funny because we actually she came to meet me when we were in makeup, and we found out that we had a friend in common right away, and who's like a friend, Ashley, hi, that we hang out with now together, right?
Okay.
And she, you know, Carla does a lot of theater. She has a theater show. I wish I knew I was going to be trumpeting that tonight, but she's got a theater show somewhere in LA on Sunday. You should go.
Okay, right? There you go. I love it.
But look up Ammunition Theater.
Oh, there you go. Ammunition Theater. Look that up.
She does a lot of theater, right? Okay. And so we found out that we had this friend in common, and that really instantly, and who the friend is and what they do, the kind of work that they make, and all these things really instantly we were like, oh, we do the same thing. We care about the same things. Like, this is great. So we very instantly became friends, and real friends and acting friends and all those things. And then so that was great. Like, my first take, I just kind of like squeezed her hand and I was like, this is my dream coming true. You know what I mean?
I like that.
You know, and she's like, ah. But then the next thing that happened was I had to move on for a scene with Torsten, and it was a really dramatic scene, and it was like my big monologue, and like it was something that I always wanted to say, and I got to say it on television.
Yeah,
like,
that's amazing.
It was amazing, right?
Yes.
But there was like a lot of like, oof, well, how?
Because you're busy being an actor, first of all. First and foremost, you're being an actor in a moment. Then you're also being trans actor, and also you're being trans, and you're just
talking about trans discrimination.
Yes,
and,
right.
Modeling good practices for not firing people because they're trans, right?
Yes.
Like all of these things. Yeah. And I mean, it was like this huge sort of, for me, like this huge civil rights moment. You know what I mean?
Seriously, yeah.
Right. And I was a little nervous. And Torsten, I kind of was a little wooden. We were practicing the scene, and I was like kind of a little wooden. And he just kind of brought it as an actor, and he just brought me back into the space of like, oh yeah, I'm an actor. This is what I'm here to do. And he helped me because at that point I hadn't taken any like on camera classes. Okay. It all happened so fast,
Yeah, right.
So he's like, oh, listen, if you talk to me, like when you talk to me, look at my cheek. And that's gonna face your face out, so you'll get more of your face on the thing. Like I would never have known that.
Yeah,
And then even so far as like me, when I turn around to like leave, I like mic drop and turn around to leave. He's like, do that going this way, not that way, even though that way is more natural because
he would know
the camera, right? Like, so he was just this like lovely, like warm teacher who wanted me to do my best, like a total team player who wanted somebody who was obviously there to do something cool, like do his best. And I'll never. And then I brought my mom to set, and it was this moment where like her phones would, when it's like memory full, like can't take.
Yeah.
So her phone hits that, and he's like right there, and he's going to set, and like there's nothing, and he just like held her and hugged her.
Oh my gosh, she was
and talks. Oh my God, I've never seen my mom like that. Like it was, my dad was standing over like, hello.
I mean, he's One Life to Live. He's All My Children. He's Port Charles. I mean, he's been around for so long. He's like a legend in daytime.
He's a legend, yeah.
And just took over an iconic role from Ron Moss doing Ridge. I think he's doing a great job. I was like, okay. At first, I was like, I'm not sure. I love it.
No, and he's really made that his own, and he's a real actor. He really just does his job really well,
And isn't that just it? You're here to do a job. You're an actor. You're here to do a job.
Yeah.
Above anything else. I like that. We're going to talk some more about One Beautiful in a little bit, but I want to actually move on to a couple other things. You went to college.
I did.
And so, what did education do for you in terms of like today? I mean, how did it anything you brought out of education that is serving you well today?
Well, so I went to Emory University in Atlanta, and it has a really kind of, I think they're much more well known as a theater program now, but at the time they were like super underground. Like I was going to go to Columbia, and but because of the theater, but then Emory just felt like the right fit. It just felt like the right place.
In Hotlanta,
right? Mm-hmm. And so their theater program in the first place was amazing.
Okay.
And then part of what happened there is what brings me here today, actually.
Okay.
I was in the theater program, and they had a resident professional theater company, Theater Emory, that produced plays. Okay. And basically you kind of saw every theater major get a different kind of role in all, and leading up to a lead role by their junior or senior year.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Right. So everybody got to have the experience of doing everything, right?
Okay, I like that.
Except me.
Oh.
I could it came time. It wasn't I didn't get the lead role. Like I didn't get any lead roles ever. You know what I mean? Like it was this thing. And my mentor sat me down, and he's like, "Listen, you don't look like a boy and you don't look like a girl. We're doing Shakespeare." And I was like, but, and he's like, before you say the britches rolls, there aren't any in this play. You know what I mean, right? And I was like, okay, And he's like, but here's the thing, in life as well as acting, like sometimes you can't wait for a role to be written for you. Sometimes you got to write your own.
Yep.
So and right at the time was when I was understanding myself as a transgender person.
Okay.
I had identified as a lesbian because I didn't know what transgender was. I was ignorant, right? I didn't have the words.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, there's this thing called transgender, and I can be that, and your gender is different than your sex that you're born with, and whoa. And I wrote a one-man show about it, and Theater Emory produced it. You know what I mean? So they gave me a shot at being this lead role kind of thing. And then somebody saw it, and I began touring before I even graduated from college. That's great. With my one-man shows, and I wrote 3 of those. And the things I learned in college actually really took me to this place. And the more rejections I get for roles, or even refusals, right, make me go, oh, right, maybe I got to write like my own show, So we'll see.
People are doing it more and more now. Actually, I interview a lot of people who do digital series and things. Are just like, I'm sitting around. I know I love to act and I love to perform, and while I'm doing auditions, I want to put something out there, and they're writing their own roles. It's happening more. You can use an iPhone and make a movie.
You can.
Which they did, actually.
Tangerine.
Yes, exactly.
It was amazing.
It was. So speaking of something related.
Yeah.
So this is great that actually college add a link for you to today.
It really did. I mean, it really kind of kickstarted what I was doing. And the other part of what I was doing, so when I started doing this work, I would go someplace, a university would bring me or a theater would bring me, but I was doing, transgender solo performance, right?
Okay.
And first of all, most people don't even know what solo performance is, right? Add transgender to that, and they're like, what? So I had to start educating people. Like, what is transgender? What does that mean? And I ended up my side gig is I'm a transgender speaker. I'm one of the top transgender speakers in the country. I talk to corporations.
We're going to use segueing into the perfect thing. Yes. That's why I want you to co-host this Marla show for with me. It's serious, because we're going to stop you right there. We're going to show you part of your TED Talks in Houston. It's the opening part that I really thought was kind of powerful. I wanted to show that now.
Would you believe I was almost homecoming queen in high school? Picture it. Football fields, fluorescent lights, Miss Congeniality on one side, Miss Best Dressed on the other, and me. I'm not talking about what's happened in the last 6 months, where the first ever transgender homecoming queen was elected by a group of her peers, and a homecoming king-to-be could not become because his driver's license said he was female, and so the school district stopped it. I'm talking about 1997. Where all I knew was that I was gay because Ellen DeGeneres was also gay, and that made sense to me. I did not know the word transgender. I had no idea what I would become or what I could become, and these words, they matter. So let's look at some words. I call this social algebra. We do this equation all the time. For instance, I'm standing here, my gender, in this transitive property, right? This transitive equation. I'm standing here.
I love it.
Looking like a dude, right? And so we imagine that what's in my pants is what's in my pants. What's hormones I have are what hormones I have. I have X's and Y's floating all through my blood. And that because we live in a world where everything is heterosexual until proven innocent.
I love that line.
That I must be a straight guy. Although I don't get many people thinking I'm a straight guy, which is fine with me.
Okay.
All of these terms have a lot of values associated with them. They are predicated on our opinions of disability, ethnicity, environment, religion, moment in time, culture, age, educational access, body size, place, race, economic class. There are as many definitions of sex, gender, and sexuality as there are people in this room. I'm willing to bet.
So I just want to show that part because I love you. You're so eloquent as a speaker.
Thank you.
It is just amazing. I know you worked it all out, and this is not you just
I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, you just wake up and I just woke up and I talk. I mean, I know you worked it out, but just saying it was something for me. I watched the whole thing actually, so folks, you can watch it. It's on YouTube. It's just so good.
Thank you.
That opening to me was just like that's a great way to open it up to kind of get people to go, okay. You're looking at me at the same time to explain to you what's out there, and I know that I know a lot of people in the newer generations are more fluid in sexuality nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Who are sitting they're not really, they date girls, but not saying necessarily I'm super straight or anything. Like my
they're
generation
really getting
did.
rid of labels.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
I love it.
That's exciting. I mean, because I could not imagine being in my 20s back in the 80s, and there was a whole different time.
Right.
Being gay was like a weird thing.
Totally.
You couldn't even, it's crazy. In the 70s, we were just considered, mental, by the AMA.
Until 1972, homosexuality was considered a mental illness.
Yep.
And until, I think 2 years ago, so was being transgender. And then we had enough transgender doctors who were like,
I know, it's just like, it's crazy. So how did, because there's TED Talks all over the place. I've talked to a guy who's done TED Talks, Manhattan Beach, and he's a beatboxer, activist. I mean, so how did TED Talks come to you?
Well, so there's TED, like the conference that happens up in Whistler, right?
Yeah.
And then there's TEDx, right, which is independently organized TED Talks. And so those happen, that's like Manhattan Beach, Venice has one, all kinds of places have them. And I lived for a while in Houston, and I'm actually like a native Texan.
Oh, you really?
Born in Texas.
I'm sorry, just kidding.
I know.
Just kidding. I like
they don't
Texas.
really claim me.
Just kidding. My cousin's in Texas. Just kidding. Yes, as you were saying.
And Diverse Works, which is a theater and art space in Houston, we're one of the commissioners of my last one-man show called Becoming a Man in 127 Easy Steps.
That's a great title.
It's great.
Great title.
And I have to thank my friend Bear Bergman for that.
Great title, Bear.
Yeah. And so they commissioned that show as part of the National Performance Network, and the marketing person there was like, have you ever done a TED Talk? And she just happened to be one of the organizers of TEDx, and so she invited me to go, and it was on my birthday a couple of years ago, and it's really changed my life. Because it's got like 55,000 views, and which isn't like a lot by a lot of standards, but something like
it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot for me. But what's exciting about it is that companies started using it to train their workers.
Good.
And and it's kind of a pain because I'm like, why don't you just hire me to do it, right?
I know, right? Yeah.
But it means that it can be in a lot more places than I can, and it's helping, and that's all I want.
It's still you.
It's still me, and it's helping, and it really gets out there, and because it has the TED, logo on it,
the
and
branding.
like people confer respect on that, and so it's just all I want to do is help people, and it helped me do that.
You're doing it. I want to tell you. Okay, so we have people watching, and Jacob Marquez says hello.
Hi.
Nikisha Jones says hello. Emily, oh my God, I'm butchering your name, girl. I'm really sorry. Pataraz, I like your name. So they're watching. I know that the two of these are Bold and Beautiful fans. They're probably tuning in because you're from Bold and Beautiful for sure. Well, hi. He said hi to me. Hi. So they're watching. So I just think it's really interesting because right now there's a lot of stuff happening in some states like North Carolina. Where one of my trans friends just moved out. He was there, Matthew Rice. Hi, Matthew.
I know Matthew.
Oh, my good friends. His
That's
son Blake. And everything.
bonkers.
Yes, known for 100 years.
I didn't know he moved. Cool.
Yeah, he moved. So, but great guy and everything. He's one of my buddies. Another attractive man. So I mean, so you've been out speaking everywhere, haven't you? You've been around because we've been trying to schedule some stuff. You're like, I gotta go here, I gotta fly here and do that. Yeah. So how's it been for you? Kind of getting out there trying to get the word out and fight for your rights.
Well,
which are our rights. Right.
I went to high school in Charlotte.
Okay.
And my parents live just outside of Charlotte still.
Okay.
This is the whole thing with HB2 in North Carolina. It's been really intense. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sure.
I actually got off Facebook last week. I had to step away.
Wow. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the last thing I saw was that school board officials in the next county over from where I grew up, in North Carolina, voted to allow children to carry pepper spray and to attack people in the bathroom. I mean, and here's the thing,
ridiculous.
I'm so this is beyond being trans. I'm a registered pacifist. I meditate. You know what I mean? I'm a peace is every step kind of person. Yeah. And so the idea of just arming children and saying violence is okay was what really killed me. But it also, it went even deeper because, this is it's that moment where you realize oh, this is my circus and these are my monkeys. You know what I mean? Shit, this is my world. Now, what I have to say is, a lot of the people that I went to high school with and I'm talking like a good 90% of them. You know, when I was in high school, I had a girlfriend, you know, at the time I was a girl and I had a girlfriend, but I didn't tell anybody because it didn't feel safe to me to do that. I felt like I would be harassed. The climate of my school at the time was such that I felt like I would be so harassed by my fellow students that, you know, in a way that the teachers would protect me, but nobody should have to deal with that. Right. So I didn't come out, even though you saw me in that rainbow dress, right? I thought that wasn't being out. I was like,
that picture gave me life. That picture gave me life. I was like, that's, oh my God, I loved it. So, yes.
It was great. And so the climate in my high school back in the late 90s was rough. And for instance, I was a student body president my senior year in high school.
Wow.
And a black gay man was my vice president, Martin.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Martin, okay.
Wilkins. And we did this thing called Awareness Day. And so it was like all the kids got out of school, but you had to come to school, and instead of taking your math class and your English class and whatever, you took a class on socioeconomic status and a class on race and ethnicity and a class on whatever, or like all the different ways of being diverse. And we had the kids from Time Out Youth, which is a youth LGBT support group, come and talk about it, and that class was packed, packed to the brim, like kids just like shoving themselves in, right? And at the end of the day, everybody got together to have like an assembly to talk about what they were feeling and thinking or whatever. And this is a private school, right? So, right, we could do that sort of thing. Right. But Time Out Youth had brought this woman who was an African-American transgender woman named Coco. Okay. And Coco was straight up, like she grabbed the mic and she just started talking, and she was like, you people don't know how good you have it, like blah, blah, blah. And she was like right on, you know, like she was really right on. But these white kids got so freaked out, there was a petition sent around among the parents, like phone trees and stuff, to get me fired.
Oh my God!
Right, because I don't represent the school, kind of thing. Right. So like that's where I went to school. Now flash forward, you know, 20, and it's exactly 20 years later, right?
Oh wow.
20 years later, I'm getting like all these emails from people like this guy Chris who was, you know, a jock, and one of those like kids I was afraid of, who's like, how do I be good to LGBT people as a white heterosexual man? Like, how do I be better? You know what I mean? And like really actually cared what I had to say to him, you know. And other people being like, I'm so sorry this is happening, this is not who we are, like this is so wrong, we're gonna fight against this, right? So for as hard as it is, again, like within every activist context, we have to always remember, for as hard as it is, there are good people who are trying really hard, and things have to get worse sometimes before they get better, you know, but they will get better. I mean, if nothing else, I'm going to call you Mayor because I remember you as Mayor Pat McCrory. You will die if nothing else, and things will change.
Okay, kids.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
That's how angry I am. I mean, I hope you don't die. Peace, love, and happiness, dude. But like,
right? I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And the thing is, you know, I have family like in the Midwest and stuff, and many of them are so sweet. Like if they're meeting a gay person for the first time, they want to know about them, what's going on, like who are you, but are you a good person?
Right. And people get that feeling from you.
Right.
But if this idea that like we can't have people around because they might offend us, right? Like if you want to, you know, cut yourself off from the world, then go live in a compound like a cult. Go do that. You know, but don't expect the rest of us to have to put up with that BS, you know?
I always tell people, be careful, because they may not be after you right now, but you could be the next group.
Right.
And that could be anything.
Exactly.
Guys with red beards, you could be next. I mean, like, if somebody I make a little joke, but I mean, like, seriously, you could be the next. People get all uppity, and I'm like, you never know. Next group could be you. Could be Latino, could be Asian, could be gay, could be bi, could be something. Right. You don't, they're going after this one group now, but you could be like, so we need to fight all these things now so everyone is okay.
Exactly. And it's not okay to say like everybody except this group, right? Like even if you take it back, I mean, I love these people who call themselves Christians, right? And then they're like, except you, except you, except you. And it's like the one quote that
Yes.
like is totally like attributed to Jesus Christ
I know.
is love everyone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like love everyone. You can't even spell accept with the words love everyone. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
Yeah, I love it.
Like,
There you go.
makes
I
me
know.
crazy. And what's really hard about it is that I get upset about it, and people think that I'm just like a raving, person, and I'm just like, I don't know if you've ever had the government come to you and tell you what bathroom you could use. You might have. Your parents definitely did.
Oh, I know. And I tell people, there are people in my family, because I'm of multiracial background, I would not be here if some of them weren't allowed to get married in California. They go to another states to get married.
Right.
I mean, I know. I mean, it's just, it's not. And I always tell people, I don't want to be just tolerated. And I'm tired of being being told, you got to pay your taxes like everybody else.
Right.
You can buy a house and do all this other stuff, but you can't do this.
Right.
You can't get married or raise a children. It's like, I'm tired of being told all that stuff. I'm like, I'm doing everything else like every other American, so let me be who I am fully, and not just like, just like, you get me started too.
No, yeah, exactly.
I love
It's yeah.
I love it. I love it.
But I think I do go out there and I do say these things because, we have to say this stuff. We have to let people, like, I went off on Facebook and I was like, I'm tired of having to deal with this. Do you know what it's like to get on Facebook every day? I've been more depressed and anxious, since HB2 happened than I've been in years. And, and my life is great.
Right, right. You're luckily you're living in a place where you're okay, it's okay, but you feel for everyone else that's going through this. I give a shout out to Target, because Target was like, it's
Target.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard, and what I think is happening, and especially among kids, right? Like, we already know that like 48% of kids like don't even identify as heterosexual anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that like some even bigger number of, and when I'm talking kids, I'm talking like people like 14 and under.
Yeah, right.
Like that they also know people who aren't male or female or men or women or anything like that, right? That like there's a serious breakdown of all these labels, and really what people care about, which is the whole point of everything. Every religion talks about it. Is like, who are you?
Right.
Do I feel you?
Yes.
Oh, I feel you. All right, let's be friends. And let's make something in this world. And I mean, as soon as we just get out of our heads about it, we'll all be okay, and hopefully it'll happen in our lifetime.
Nikisha Jones, she was telling somebody in the chat room that she was pissed off because I guess her government in Mississippi is being stupid.
Yes, Mississippi. I mean, North Carolina, Mississippi, Tennessee. So basically, I mean, boy, Mississippi and Tennessee. I just can't even.
I know.
Those are places it's easy not to go to. But
Right.
North Carolina, they got some nice beaches, right?
I have a major airport that I've flown through many times.
Right, my parents are there. Actually, I'm going to go see my parents, but we're flying into Atlanta because I'm boycotting North Carolina.
Okay.
And when I go to see them, I'm not going to spend any money in that.
Good for you.
You know what I mean?
Good for you. And everybody, it's a good thing to say, you have a choice and you have a chance to vote this election. I mean, on small local level, all the way up to the top. No President Trump. Go all the way up to the top. I mean, whatever you feel, you should go out there and exercise that privilege that people have died for to let us do.
Yeah.
So I think it's something you should go out there. I mean, you're bringing some good points of just getting out there and get involved in your community and work that. I mean, if you don't like this going on, work out to change it.
Exactly. And something else I want to say, this is something that I do when I'm giving my talks, because I talk at corporations a lot now.
Okay.
I've talked at colleges for years and years and years, and helped with changing non-discrimination
Just one
policies
kind
and
of.
stuff. But like going to corporations is like a whole bunch of different kinds of people there, and it's kind of funny because it's almost like The Bold and the Beautiful too. There's like all these different kinds of people who are watching, who have all kinds of come from all different places and all different, and I wouldn't be a diversity speaker if I didn't believe in a diversity of opinions, right? If I didn't respect a diversity. So like, it is completely okay that a person thinks differently than I do about gender, but you may not pass laws against people because of their difference. That's the only thing that we need to agree on, or that I will spend my life beating you about. Right. You know what I mean?
I agree with you on that. I'm not trying to make you me or whatever. I'm just like this. Let me do my deal and I'll let you do yours. And
because I thought that was America.
That's a whole other show. A whole other show. I can't begin on that one. That's a whole other show. What I thought America should be, but another story. I mean, okay. So obviously, it's gonna be the last time we're gonna be talking because we could go on forever, and I can't go on forever with you. So fascinating. So just last question. You're living the dream, basically, here in LA, aren't you? Living the dream. Trying to.
Sure, working hard at it.
Yeah, working hard at it.
Yeah, like we all are, I think.
Yes. Do you know, are you filming any more right now yet of Bold and Beautiful? Do you know if anything's coming up?
I'm not filming currently.
Okay.
And they let us know kind of really close to when we are.
Okay.
So I know I'm not filming in the next 2 weeks.
How far ahead are they? I think I'm trying to think. Some films are 6 weeks. I saw some of them were 5-6 weeks. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if folks do want to find you, and you on social media, are you on any social media left? Can you tell them where they can find you?
You can find me. I'm not really on Facebook right now, but but I will be back. I'm just taking a break. Had to chill out. As you see, I have a lot of passion about this, and so I just needed to calm down, and it's been really nice. So I'm on Facebook. I have both a fan page and I'm maxed out on my other things, so but you can follow me there. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. And I think those are my main ones. And my website is my name, ScottTurnerSchofield.com. But yeah, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is YouTube Underground Trans.
Now, this Sunday is the premiere. I mean, this has been like almost a year in the making of the Bold Breakdown here on AfterBuzzTV.com. Will be the final show of the Sunday soap block we have here. We have Dish and Days, GH Report. Restless Wrap Up is also premiering this Sunday, which is for Young and the Restless. And then my show, I'm the host. And I have Pearson Faudet on, which is your buddy.
He's so great.
He's great. You're going to love it. But we're going to get him on there, too. He's going to come on the show. He has to go away for a little bit, but he's going to come back and come on the show. So you have to come on.
I would love to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
My pleasure. And this is another edition of Spotlight On here on AfterBuzzTV.com. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube. Go to Spotlight On under the AfterBuzz TV labels. Rate us, like us, share this. Share this with everybody you know needs to hear the message. Share it. And you can follow me on all the interwebs. Yes, I said interwebs. At James Lott Jr. Not senior, that's my father. Don't do anything to him. I'm James Lott Jr., and I'll see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.